Hideo Kojima is basically future-proofing his company. Let's get into it. So this is actually an article that I found from Andy Robinson over at VGC, and it kind of references an interview that Metal Gear creator Hideo Kojima had with Edge magazine, basically talking about how, like, during the production of Death Stranding 2, he had just turned 60, and that he had suffered an illness during the pandemic that actually inspired him to do this sort of a thing, where he is giving like people or a person at his company like a USB drive with a bunch of like video game ideas in case something ever happens to him. So I'm gonna read through a little bit of this and I'll be hopping around. So he basically starts it with saying, turning 60 was less of a turning point in my life than my experiences during the pandemic. I fell seriously ill at the time and also had an eye operation. Until then, I didn't think I was old, you know. I just didn't feel my age, and I assumed I would be able to create for as long as I live. But then I became sick, and I couldn't create anything, and I saw lots of people around me passing away at the time. I was confronted with death. Of course, I recovered, but now I was thinking, wait, how many years do I have left to make a game or film? Perhaps I have 10 years. He also talks about how, like, during his illness, during the pandemic, he realized that a lot of fans wanted him to make a game like Metal Gear, which is what inspired him to create the game Physint that he's working on with Sony. Later in the interview, he states, I gave a USB stick with all of my ideas on it to my personal assistant, kind of like a will. Perhaps they could continue to make things after I'm gone at Kojima Productions. This is a fear for me. What happens to Kojima Productions after I'm gone? I don't want them to just manage our existing IP. In other parts of the article, he also talks about how, like, the reason he wants to, like, make a variety of projects is so that Kojima Productions can have just a larger lifespan because they can make multiple different IPs instead of just managing a singular IP, as he stated clearly. And I think this is awesome. This just shows that Hideo Kojima is an artist, and he doesn't make games just for the money. He makes them for the passion because he enjoys it, and he wants to make good games that are, like, well, controversial. Going back to another article where Hideo Kojima was talking about some like early testing, like reviews that they were getting for Death Stranding 2, and I guess all of them were pretty good, and he wasn't happy about it. He was kind of the mindset of like, well, I'm glad that the people are liking the game and it's getting great reviews, but I was also disappointed because I wanted it to be more controversial like the first game. So it's like, for everybody who was like, oh, I don't like Death Stranding and this, that, and the third, like, that's what he wanted. He wanted, like, because I think Kojima understands, like, that as a developer, that's how you get better, is when people don't like things about your game. If you're a good developer, like a designer or whatever do you want to call them, you're going to take those ideas, you're going to try to put them into your next iteration and improve on that. So let me know what you guys think. I think this is a pretty fascinating article. Again, it's an interview with Edge magazine. Obviously, you know where you can find an Edge magazine. And yeah, let me know what you guys think, man. If you're a Metal Gear fan or Death Stranding fan like myself, I know the next game, Death Stranding 2, is coming out in about a month. So let's talk about it. Peace.